So this conversation today is only going to be for people who truly know their presentation. If you don't know your presentation, it's okay, you can listen in. But this conversation is for people who know their presentation and know their script. And what we're going to go over is something called transition statements. All right? Transition statements. Does anybody know what a transition statement is?
When you're
What's a
actually
transition statement, Sandy?
transitions when you have one area that you're speaking about and you need to move into the next one, but you don't want it to be abrupt and unnatural.
I love it. Hey, best response. You said that better than I could have. Right out the textbooks, right out the encyclopedia. You got that on google.com, Wikipedia. You Google that so fast. Hey, man, I love that. Yes, it's a statement that you say when you're moving into your next question or moving into your next section of your presentation. And truthfully, I see so many people struggling with this, and it causes a disconnect with the client because they don't know how to transition into the next question. Right? So I'm gonna give you guys the formula. I'm gonna call some people on. We're gonna role play, but here's what the formula is. If you guys are taking notes, write this down. The transition statement formula or the conversation formula, because a lot of people be struggling with having conversations when it comes to these clients. And that's all this is. A presentation is just you and I having a conversation, right? We're both having a conversation. Here's the formula. When you're transitioning to your next statement, you want to ask the question. You want to repeat back to the client what they just told you. You want to tell a story if it's needed, right? You don't always need to tell a story, but if you want to tell a story, you can tell a story to relate to the client. And then you want to ask your next question. I'm going to repeat that again. Ask the question, repeat to the client what they just told you to show them that you're listening. You want to tell a story to relate to that client and what they're going through. And then you want to ask your next question. You guys got it? You guys got that formula? Okay. The reason why I want to talk about this today is because there's so many people that we role play with, and it sounds like a freaking interrogation. Like, agent is like, okay, cool. So when you request this information, were you requesting for yourself, for you, and someone else? Okay, yourself. Got it. Okay. Were you requesting because you don't have anything in place right now? Oh, you don't have anything in place right now. Who passed away? How long ago was that? What funeral handled their arrangements? Did they have a burial? Did they have a cremated? What happened? Like they're just going back to back to back to back, but there's no conversation that's being involved with the client. And remember, I always tell you guys, the first step of beginning to sell is building trust with your client. A client cannot trust you if it's not conversational. Have any of you guys ever been interrogated before? Like at a jail or anything? Okay, if you raised your hand, you you need some help. Okay, I'm joking. I'm joking. But Sandy, when you got interrogated, KP, when you got interrogated, did it feel fun? Was it cool? No, you probably was
No,
sweating, right?
I was
You
ready
probably
to
was
walk
sweating,
away.
huh? What'd you say?
I was ready just to walk away,
You were
but I
ready
couldn't.
just to walk away. And you guys wonder why, if you're on the phone, why clients are hanging up on you in the middle of your discovery. Because you're interrogating them so much, they're like, "Lil, yo, I didn't call to get interrogated. I called to get some insurance to get more information." You guys are probably wondering why, when you're in the field with your client and you're interrogating them, they're very standoffish. They don't want to open up. It's because you're interrogating them. A presentation in a script is all about having conversation. The better you get at communicating and conversing with your client, the more money you'll make because the more trust you build with that person, right? So, who wants to role play with me really quick with this formula? And it's a formula that a lot of you guys haven't really probably heard of, but it's just it should be something that's super simple that comes to all of us because it is. Because when we're having conversations with our friends, right, and with our family members, what's happening is we're having conversation and we're following this formula, but we don't follow the same formula when we talk to our clients. So who wants to role play really quick?
Yep, Sandy.
Sandy, let's do it. Okay, cool. So let's start in the discovery. Okay, and let's just go for from there. Let me hear it.
Okay. Let me see. So, okay, so Jalen, so I see on the form that you listed just your name. Now, were you requesting this information for yourself or for you and someone else?
Just for myself.
Okay. All right. So it was just for yourself. I get it. So we're just taking care of only you today, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Well, I know that's like, I mean, hey, you took the time to make this, fill out this form. So now we're here to take care of that. So let's go ahead and dig into that. When we talk about the fact that you requested just for yourself, Jalen, were you requesting this because you recently experienced a funeral or because you just didn't simply have anything in place until today?
I recently experienced a funeral actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Whew. Okay. How long ago was that, Jalen?
Man, I somebody just passed away like 3 weeks ago for me.
My condolences, my condolences. Who, if you don't mind me asking, who passed away?
Yeah, it was one of my cousins.
Mm, mm. Well, and with family, we know how close that can be. I take it were you pretty close with your cousin?
Yeah, I was. We grew up together practically. It's very devastating to actually see because we were around the same age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. Now I know I can't relate to it being the actual cousin, but family is family, right? So I had a brother who actually, passed away, and I mean, we used to play, spades like once a month or something like that, you know. And the thing that I remember too, right? And you let me know if you agree. You never get to tell them everything you want to tell them before they pass away, right?
That's absolutely true. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things I wish I could have spoke to him and said to him. Wish I could have just told him I love him a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, and so I can imagine the whole, dealing with him, passing away was already a lot. Um, so let me ask you this, if you don't mind. Was he buried or cremated?
He was buried. Good, Sandy.
Mm.
Good, Sandy. Good, Sandy. Hey, drop in the chat if you were sold or unsold. Sold or unsold. Drop in the chat really quick. Were you sold or unsold? Sold or unsold? Sold or unsold? Hey, Sandy, that means you did a good job. You were sold. Do you guys hear how he was having a conversation with me? That was so good. That was really, really good. Who's next? Come on, who's next? Who's next? We're gonna pick up right where Sandy left off. So hopefully you was listening. All right. We're gonna pick up right where Sandy's left off. Who's next? Ooh,
I'll go.
Tom. Let's do it. Hey, and this is a top producer right here, y'all. Oh, snap. Tom Suber. What's going on, brother? All right, we're going to pick up right where Sandy left off. We're going into asking about burial. Sandy, what did you say to burial cremation? What was your last statement?
Um, oh yeah, so we were going into, yeah, if it was buried or cremated, that was going to be the next question.
Gotcha. You're still asking about my cousin. Okay, cool. So
Right.
we're picking up right there. So whatever you want to how you want to bring it in, Tom.
All right. So Jalen, Mr. Jalen, what we like to do here is, well, first of all, I understand that everyone's different, right? So everyone's got different needs, everyone's trying to accomplish something different, and everyone's got a different budget. So what I like to do is tailor a plan specifically for your needs. So are you looking just to take care of your final expenses, or are you looking to leave some money behind for some loved ones as well?
Man, the biggest thing is I really want to take care of these final expenses, and if possible, I would love to leave some money behind also. It's all depending on the budget, though. You know?
Gotcha. Okay, I hear you. So if you can afford to, you'd absolutely love to leave some money behind, but at the very least, you don't want to leave any burdens behind to your loved ones, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay, so Jane, let me ask you this. If you've been thinking about it, did you want to be buried or cremated?
Man, I really like to be buried. My cousin, he had a really nice burial. I really don't can't deal with that cremation stuff. I can't think of having my body burned.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% hear you there, man. So, do you know the average cost of a burial in Ohio right now?
Um, for my cousin, we pay like $20,000, man. It was a good penny.
Whew. Yeah, I know inflation's kind of ran rampant these last few years, man. Everyone's been feeling it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The average cost of a burial right now is really ranging between 10 and 20,000, depending on how fancy you want to go, if you want a big service or anything like that. Now, the most expensive part of your burial is going to be the vault, the casket, the opening, the closing, and the plots.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, Mr. Jalen, is there anyone in specific that you're looking to protect by getting this coverage today?
Yeah, my son. I want to make sure he's good. I don't want to leave him with any financial burdens.
Your son. Okay, now if you don't mind me asking, what's your son's name?
Um, Jeremy.
Jeremy? Okay.
I,
Well, I
I,
can
I
imagine.
I had to think about that because I got like 7 sons, but I got to think about the most responsible one.
You got 7 sons?
I got a lot of sons, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, Jalen. I mean, I come from a big family myself. My mom was one of 9, my dad was one of 6, and I can't even tell you how many cousins I got. I mean, it's great. So I totally understand the dynamics of a large family, and I imagine that you really want to make sure you don't leave any burdens or debts behind on them. Is that right?
That's right. Good, Tom. Drop some fire. Some if he's sold or unsold, sold or unsold in the chat. Sold or unsold in the chat. We're gonna do one more. We got to finish this discovery. Who
I
is
gotta
next?
hop off. I got an appointment, Jalen.
You're good. Hey, go close that deal, Tom. Good job, man. Hey, he said he was. Everybody said sold. All right. So Tom, we just finished up talking about if I wanted to be buried or cremated, who we wanted to leave some extra money behind to. Who is next? We need to finish the discovery. Who's next? Who want to take it on next? Who want to take on the end of it? Come on, come on.
Can I go?
Ah, Lord.
I'm just kidding. I'll mute. I'll mute.
Mike, Michael, come on in and finish this off. Michael, come on in and finish this off. Mike Cortain, come on in and finish this off, man.
Okay.
I need the end of the discovery. Tom already told me. We already figured out that my son is gonna be no. Tom, we just figured out I want to be buried, and then he asked me the question. Lord forbid, if I passed away, who would I want to inherit that benefit? So finish it off. Finish it off.
Okay. Gotcha. So if anything happened to you last night, God forbid, your son Donald, the person taking care of your final expenses, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me just get that there for you. Donald. Okay. Now, do you think Donald is in a position right now financially to come out of pocket to pay for that for you?
I don't believe so. That's why I wanted to make sure we can at least put something in place so he doesn't have to deal with that financial burden.
Okay, just putting the X there for you. Okay. So I'm assuming that's the reason why you want to have something in place today, so there's no burden that put upon Donald when you pass away. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Now, Jalen, help me out here. How important is this to you?
Man, it's pretty important. Like I said, my cousin just passed away not too long ago, and like I mentioned earlier, he didn't have any insurance, so we want to make sure he's well taken care of. I'm taken care of if something happened to me.
Okay, I love that. Now, Jalen, my transition statement is a little bit different than yours, but I would then go into the presentation of what we're going to do today, yada, yada, yada. But I'm not sure if you want to keep going or not.
Good. No, that's good. Everybody drop in the chat if it's sold or unsold. Out of those 3 people, were we sold or unsold? Were we sold or unsold? Okay, we were all sold. Now, for anybody who was listening, what did you guys hear most? Did you guys hear them for following the formula that I gave? Did you guys hear like it was all conversation, right? All conversational based. It didn't sound like I was interrogated. I didn't feel like, I was a part of a gang and I was like inside of the police department and I'm getting interrogated. Because that's what you guys are, some of you guys are making your clients feel like, hey, you're interrogating, you're asking so many questions, right? We're not in middle school or grade school anymore where we're asking, hey, let's play 21 questions where I can get to know you. Like, no, we're no longer doing that. We're grown adults. No, we need to ask these questions so we can figure out why the client is requesting information. It's all about building trust within your discovery, right? It's all about conversation. Okay. One thing that I wish that some people probably did, Sandy, you did a really, really good job at this. You asked, you had some stories in there, right? If you guys are taking notes, I want you guys to write this thing down that I always say to my clients if they say they experience a funeral and they don't have anything and they had to pay out of pocket, right? Write this down. I always say this line. Here's my story. Mr. John, I can only imagine how you feel. In fact, most of my clients who've experienced a funeral and they had to pay out of pocket always tell me it's hard for them to grieve properly because they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their family. I can imagine that's something you don't want to leave your family behind with as well. You guys see that? I told a story. I connected with them a little bit. Even if it's not my story, I told somebody else's story. Hey, I can imagine, right? My clients always tell me that it's hard for them to grieve properly for their family because they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their funeral. I can imagine you don't want your family to feel the same way. That's so smooth right there. And I say, is that correct? Yes, that's correct. Boom. Me and the client now are like this. We're like this. What happens with a lot of agents is that they don't tell stories. They don't connect with their client. They're not having conversations and they're trying to build this relationship, but they're like this. They're never like this. They're like, they can't get like this. They're just like this. You have to make sure you're telling stories, either your story or somebody else's story. You have to make sure you're connecting with your client. Okay. All right. Good job. Now we're going to move into the close, right? Because I believe that when you get past the approach, the discovery and the close are going to be the most important things, right? So now we're going to jump into the close. I told you guys I'm gonna go over a little bit, if that's okay with you guys. You guys got to jump off, that's all right. But I want to make sure I'm giving you guys some valuable information before you guys go into Turkey Day tomorrow. I want to make sure I'm giving you guys some valuable information. We're going to go into the close. And in the close, what I want to hear is a few different things, right? I want to hear the 3 companies that's going to be the most comparable. I also want to hear the company that you decide you want to go with. And then what I'm really hearing, what I'm really trying to listen to is you reviewing and summarizing what they said. What they told you in the discovery, I want you to tell me and review that and then give me my options. Right? So it's going to sound something like this. Mike, let's role play really quick. Okay? And before we role play, actually, let's not do Mike because Mike always makes my job harder. I need somebody else. Lord Almighty. Mike always makes this job real hard.
I'll make it easy.
No, and I don't. Mike makes my job real hard. Okay, Mike, you cool. That's cool. If you're doing phone if you're doing phone sales, guys, or if you're doing field sales, you add this into your close. I promise it's going to help out. Just a little bit of education, really quick. Remember, as an entrepreneur, when you guys decide to become life insurance agents, you raise your hand and say, "Hey, I want to solve people's problems." But the reason why people are not wanting to buy from you at the end is because you haven't even figured out what their problem was in the discovery. You're rushing through your discovery. That's why you haven't figured out what their problem is. And then you get to the end of your close and you don't know what problems to solve because you didn't ask. So the close, you're literally bringing back up their problems and then you're offering a solution. You're bringing back up their problem, you're offering a solution. The solution is the product that you're giving them to solve their problem. So at the end, I like to bring back up all the problems and the issues they share with me. And then I'm going to give them a solution to their problem. You guys with me on that? So here's how to do it. When you're going through your when you're sharing your reasons, when you're resharing the client's why, you always want to bring up 3 to 4 bullet points. And you want to bring them up as bullet points, not summarize everything in one statement. You want to bring up bullet points, right? So here's the reason that number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Correct? That's correct. And then you bring up the bullet points of what product you're giving them for whole life. Here's the benefits 1, benefits 2, benefits 3, benefits 4. You guys see the comparison? You have 4 reasons on why they requested information. Then you got 4 reasons on why this product can best serve you. All right. So, Mike, if you don't mind, let's role play really quick, man. And then I'm gonna have a couple more people come on. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, cool. Now, Mr. Mike, I was able to run several options for you, and it looks like out of all the carriers we work with, it looks like Mutual of Omaha, SBLI, and Aflac are going to be the most comparable in price. Okay.
Okay.
Aflac is actually going to give you the best benefits and the best rates. Now, I know, Mr. Mike, you mentioned a little earlier that you recently experienced a funeral that caused you and your family to have to come out of pocket and pay for you had to pay for your funeral expenses. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned that you currently do not have any life insurance in place. And one of the biggest things for you is wanting to make sure that your son, Jeremy, isn't left with any financial burdens. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you also mentioned that your budget right now is only about $100 a month. And ideally, you would really like to get around 20 to 25,000 to take care of your final expenses to cover your burial. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay, perfect. Now, Mr. Mike, after running all these options, Aflac is going to be a permanent whole life policy. Okay, it's going to be a permanent life policy that protects you for your whole life. The premiums never change. The benefits never change. It does build that cash value, as I mentioned earlier. It says day 1 coverage, no 2-year waiting period. So the minute you make your first payment is the minute that you're covered, so you don't have to worry about your son Jeremy having to come out and pay for your funeral expenses. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Lord forbid your health changes in the future, you don't have to worry about this, the premiums changing, the benefits changing, or anything changing in your policy. All right.
Okay.
All right. Now, Mr. Michael, based on your qualifications, right, you can do $30,000 in coverage for just $102 a month, $25,000 for just $85 a month, or $20,000 for just $60 per month. Now, out of these options, which one sounds the most attractive to you?
The middle one.
Okay, so you that 25,000 for that $82 a month?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Now, Mr. Mike, who's going to be your beneficiary?
Jalen.
Jalen. Okay, Jalen, his last name Talley?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Now, did you want him to receive 100% of the benefit as well?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, if anything changes, just let me know, and we can always, change this out for you. I'll be your ongoing agent if you ever need to update that for you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Boom. You guys hear how I did that? That's the close.
Jen, can I ask something there, please?
Go ahead.
So everything you said was beautiful, and I love everything. Me and you, Tony, done a lot of business. We have different philosophies, and that's okay. It gets the end goal to the end goal. So the companies, guys, like, for example, Phil, I'm taking someone through Aflac. Everyone and their aunties and uncles know what Aflac is, right? Can we all agree upon that?
Sure.
But Jerry, before you started an insurance business, do you know who the heck SBLI was? I didn't. And I still don't know who they are. So if I'm taking someone, I know I'm going to go through SBLI, Tyrone, I'm still going to name drop how Jalen did Mutual Omaha and Aflac because it brings familiarity. But then when I mentioned, hey, SBLI is one of the 2 best carriers for you, just so you know, SBLI has been around for over 100 years and they're based out of Massachusetts. Facts sell. So you want to give them at least like a 1 or 2 facts about the company before you maybe take them through that carrier. Hey, you may go through American Amicable or Aetna. American Amicable has been around for over 100 years, and they're based out of Waco, Texas. Hey, you may go through Royal Neighbors of America. They're actually the first insurance company to ever give insurance to a woman back in 1895. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think? That's actually a true fact. It's actually a true fact. Like that stuff right there. I have a client like, man, Mike, I want that company because they insure women first. I love that. Tony said yesterday. Tony said yesterday. Value over price. Value over price. So the companies there, you know, I mentioned that. And then last thing here, Joe, I give back to you. The day one coverage piece. Guys, clients cancel policies for 3 reasons. Clients would cancel a policy or miss a payment for 3 reasons. 1, they can't afford it. 2, they don't understand how the policy works. Or 3, they don't trust you. Now, them not understanding how the policy works is as simple as I had a client I saw last week. I literally saw this guy 30 days ago. 30 days ago. It's Marcus Holder. He's like an old school Rough Rider. He gets mad. I'm late. I got there. He's like, Mike, I want to cancel this policy. I was like, Marcus, why? Why would cancel? We talked for an hour outside your home, and it was freezing cold outside. We talked. We actually signed up. Why do you want to cancel? He said, Mike, I got a waiting period. I'm like, Marcus, get your policy out for me. Marcus, I told you when I wrote it down for you have day one coverage. What do you mean? It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Guys, when you mention the client gets day one coverage, say that thing 3 times. That's honestly the top 3 reasons why the policies we have for clients are so good. Because they can buy insurance, Phil, off the TV for Colonial Penn. But it's a waiting period. So if I told the client, hey, we can get you day one coverage, I say that thing like 3 times. Hey, you can possibly get day one coverage. It's also known as a first day coverage. It means that if anything happens to you in the next 2 or 3 months, God forbid, the full amount of money pay out to your loved ones. This is, you know how these, have you ever heard of those 2-year waiting periods? Yeah, I don't like this because you got to, so, and I mentioned again. All right, Jalen, that's all I got though.
Good job. Good job. That's good. Good information
Can I
right
put
there.
can I put in 2 seconds here? Because there's 6 people on here that are using my script, so it's in a little different order than what you're doing. I cover, and this is just, again, Mike hit it already. My philosophy is a little different. So all of the stuff that we're talking about right now is covered still. So just understand that I'm still doing the same stuff, just in a different order. In my script, it's all covered very early on so that we aren't going over it at the end. And there's nothing wrong with it. As I've said to everybody, if you come to me and talk about, and I'm like, Joan and Mike know what they're doing. It's a $200,000 script. Shut up and follow it. If that's what you're doing. If you don't like it, that's fine. But it makes money. It's you, not the script. Okay. Now, having said that, I do the exact same thing. It's just not during this period of time. Once I get them, my philosophy is once I get them to say yes at the end, or I don't get them to say yes, once they pick, from that point, it's a natural progression just to go into the app. They should be expecting that to occur. So all these things that they're going over is just covered over early on mine. And anybody that's got my script will go through that. I go, well, listen, you taking the time to request the information for the state regulated life insurance programs in order to make sure that whoever it was that they have as their beneficiary, John, had funds available for them when you passed away. These plans are all from names that you heard of, like Mutual of Omaha, Aflac, American Home Life, Transamerica, and I'll drop a couple in there. And then I say, I also have about a dozen companies you've never heard of, because I want to make sure I do what's right for my client. My job is to do all the research for you, not you. You've got better things to do. I've been doing this more than 20 years, so that's my job. So I've already dropped the nugget right there that I may say a company they've never heard of. And then through the rest of the conversation, I'm still building authority. So at the end, I don't even tell, for me, now again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong or otherwise. For me, I don't even tell them what company they're with until they pick the price. After they're done with the price, I'm like, oh, by the way, this is SBLI. They're headquartered in Massachusetts, over 100 years in business. They're just as big as Mutual of Omaha. They just didn't have a show on Sunday nights that we all watched when we were growing up. So, and then I just move on. Everything is dependent on them being hooked into me, not the policy. I want them buying Tony. So whoever the company is doesn't matter. They trust me. And if they don't, Mike just hit the nail on the head. They're going to cancel anyway. So I'm going to be heavy on making sure they are hooked into when the guy comes knocking at the door. I've already got them agreed that they say, hey, you got to talk to my agent. I got to get Tony on the line before you can start talking. They should have that kind of trust in you before you get to the end. So anyway, just wanted to cover that really quickly because I know my guys are going, what the heck are they talking about? Because we covered that way early on.
Yeah, no, that's good. So guys, when you guys come on these calls, I want you guys to understand that, you know, I want you to be able to pick up some nuggets that you can apply to the script that you're currently following. That's all this is. So we went over the discovery, the questions and all that different stuff. Hey, just implement it inside the script that you're already following. If you're not following me or Tony G's script, then hey, that's on you. Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah. You know,
good luck.
That's on you, but at least add some of the stuff into your script. You know what I mean? And if Tony G is your upline, again, I want you guys to understand that he has some valuable information, right? It's not always about the script. It's about how you're following it and what you're doing, right? So essentially, me and Tony were saying all the same stuff. It's just
correct.
It's just structured a little differently. It's just like, hey, this is here, this is here. It's all the same. It's a little bit differently. The flows a little bit differently, but it's okay.
Flow is different.
So if Tony gave you a script, make sure you guys are following that. But just add in a couple key parts. Like the biggest thing I want you guys to pick up in the discovery is how to transition. That's it. The biggest thing I want you guys to pick up in the close is, okay, mention this, right? Or if you're following Tony's, mention this at the beginning. That's it. Okay, guys? But yeah, thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Sandy, you got your hands raised.
Right. Like when Mike mentioned about coming to a client who was like thinking about canceling their policy, like in this case, if it's one where they have that 2-year investment and they say, well, I'm looking at getting it from somewhere else because, you know, I don't want to have to deal with the 2-year investment. That's why I want to cancel this policy. Even though you've already explained to them, hey, just so you know, I'm a life insurance agent broker, and that means I work with over 25 different carriers. So I do all the shopping for you. So if I can't find it, it doesn't exist. How do you confront that when they want to cancel a policy for a 2-year investment period policy?
Yeah, and Mike can hit on this a little because it was his situation. But remember this: after you sell a policy, don't be shocked that there are agents who are coming behind and trying to replace that. I promise you, there's going to be an agent who comes in and be like, "Oh, you have Mutual of Omaha? Oh, that may have a 2-year waiting period on it." And then it starts to fester in their mind that they may have a 2-year waiting period. And here's the problem: they haven't talked to you in 7 months. So now they're curious because your only conversation you had with that person is, hey, sign on this dotted line now. I'm gonna talk to you never. So now 7 months later, another agent like me comes by and we're talking, we're trying to figure out their policies. You know, they're like, did you have a 2-year waiting period? They're like, I don't know, because they forgot. And because you haven't followed back up with them, now that agent can easily get in their ear and want to cancel their policy. But here's the thing, like there's a lot of crooked agents out there who will lie and tell the client, hey, you have a 2-year waiting period on that. You have a 2-year waiting period on that. And then what they'll do is they'll pull up the policy, they'll probably show like one section, like the benefit summary section where it says, hey, about the cash value. It says, hey, your cash value is at 0, and the second year is at 120. And they're mistaking the cash value for the death benefit. And they'll show them that little section to be crooked and not show them the other pages and say, hey, yeah, you see here, it only pay out $120 if you pass away the second year. There's agents like that, bro. I'm telling you. So it's your job as an agent, man, to really make sure you're staying diligent and staying in your client's ear, build that trust with them. The sale continues on even after the sale, at least for 9 months, hopefully, because that's when the chargebacks come in, right? So you want to make sure you're staying consistent with your client even after you sold them the policy. So even if they do get when they do get approached by a client, another agent, they can have enough respect for you to be like, hey, you know what? Let me give my agent a call and say, hey, I'm thinking about canceling this policy. Here's why. But if they haven't talked to you in 7 to 8 months, then they're not going to have that respect for you. They're like, well, I haven't talked to them in like 8 months. I'm just calling them to cancel. So I just want to kind of put that there too. Mike, you have anything else you want to share on that?
I have a lot, but I want to try to make it like a 30-second when we got to end this call here shortly. I want to kind of go right back to Tony, what Tony said a second ago. Like, guys, to be honest, the script doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I just said it. The script means nothing. The script is the skeleton to your talk with the client. The bones of the talk with the client is what is you, your personality. If you're using Tony's script, using my script, using Jalen's script, great. If you know all of them, now you're a flexible agent. You're a agent not gonna adapt to different styles, and that's amazing. So Jerry, you know Jalen's script, you know Tony's script, wonderful. Your sales should be up here now. You know what I mean? So you know in Tony's script or me and Jalen's script, that's okay because the script is a skeleton to the body, and the presentation, your personality is actually the body to the script. Does that make sense, y'all? Good. Sandy, I mean, when it comes to clients and stuff like that, like I said, I just reiterate to them like 4 or 5 times before I end the call with them how the policy works. I'm even texting them how the policy works, maybe email them how the policy works. Like, but I'm just reiterating because these clients, bless their soul, they forget. And I'm just reiterating many times before we end the call how the policy works. And Sandy, a lot of times you get those non-sufficient fund emails from the carriers. Like I said, it's for 3 reasons. They can't afford it, they don't trust you, and if they got how the policy works. Therefore, they don't want to pay for it, or they find something else. So when you get those non-sufficient emails, Jacqueline, not saying you, but those emails from the carriers of the client that may miss their payment, let's address those immediately. Yes, they may go to your spam, but address them immediately. All right, cool. Jalen, that's all I got. We should probably end this call here shortly.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end it now. I was gonna role play a little bit at the end. Did the close make sense to everybody and how it's supposed to be done? Did that help out a little bit when you bring back up their reason on why they requested information, and then you share the benefits of the policy to offset why they requested it? Does all that? Do you guys understand that philosophy and that teaching there? You guys
and Caroline has a really good closing that I posted in the chat yesterday, right, Jalen?
Yeah, it was really, really good. It only got 1 like, which I'm kind of curious on because that shows that nobody, hopefully you guys listen to it. It's really good.
I know Jacqueline heard it, but she probably didn't want to like it because it's Caroline. Now it's like, I can't let my enemy know what I'm liking.
They're actually really good friends. They're really good peers now. They always talk. But it's a healthy competition, you know what I mean? You know, and Tom's chasing after Jay. Jay is she had the best month so far. So I mean, I think she already beat Caroline technically.
Yeah, Jalen.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you for taking a little bit of time to speak with us this morning.